So it looks like Trump is calling out the U.S. Postal Service for giving Jeff Bezos, Amazon, like a huge discount on packaging compared to other companies like UPS and FedEx that don't get the same deal. And everybody is losing their shit, right? And it's pretty funny how people go and defend like monopolies when Trump is calling it out, right? If it was anybody else who was mentioning this, they'd be like, yeah, that's true. Why are they getting a huge discount? Why is UPS picking winners and losers? Something like Amazon is saving like $1.46 on every package that they're delivering because of this law that I think Congress passed in 2006, uh, Accountability and Enhancement Act. See, a regulation that was meant to stop the UPS from picking winners and losers and unfairly charging people and shit ended up actually working in the favor of Amazon and saving them billions and billions and billions of dollars at the expense of taxpayers, right? Because you're the ones footing the bill for them to actually have a monopoly on the market now because they're able to save $1.46 on every package and the American taxpayers are paying for it anyways. You guys are subsidizing it. Then they are able to charge cheaper prices, and this pretty much ensures that they can keep a monopoly, right? And then once they have a monopoly, then they can charge whatever the fuck they want. So this just proves and shows you how big governments, when they already create a monopoly like the U.S. Postal Service, just helps ensure it helps create other monopolies because it wants to stay alive. Because the U.S. Postal Service is super inefficient, right? There's all these people within it that want to keep their jobs, and it's not a conspiracy or something like that, but they want to keep working, so they're going to, you know, keep the business running as long as they possibly can, even though it's costing everybody a ton of money. Whereas if it wasn't run by the government and it was on the private sector, it would already be completely different. People will get their mail way different than they get it currently, and it would be way more efficient, faster, and cheaper. But right now they're like, oh, we're Amazon. They're like, we're creating jobs. See, it's like, but you're creating shitty jobs that nobody needs, right? Like these people should have lost their jobs a long time ago, and then the price and shipping of everything would have gone down because Amazon would have had to take the cost onto themselves, and that would have incentivized them to create something more efficient to deliver the mail. See, this is like stopping progress by creating the U.S. Postal Service, which has a monopoly on like delivering mail, and by creating this, you're actually stopping progress because now Amazon, these companies can go through here. They don't have to worry about this cost. They don't have to improve their technology. They don't have to create new shit to make it more efficient because they can just rely on you to do everything. Whereas if they had to take on this cost, they would have a huge incentive to develop new technology and shit like that. But this is actually stopping it. And if they had developed all this new stuff, then it would be cheaper for everybody. And you don't need those jobs at the Postal Service, right? Those people could be doing other things, and you don't know the jobs that could be created if you had gotten rid of the Postal Service already. There could be new industries that could pay even more money and that aren't just huge money pits on your economy, because that's all the Postal Service is in America. It's a money pit. You do not need it in the current form it is. And whenever you have the government creating monopolies like this, it turns into money pits because people, they want to keep working, so they're going to slow down their work. They're not going to work as hard because they're like, okay, well, if I do too much of this and I do it too efficiently, then they're going to get rid of me, right? Whereas in the free market, they want you to work as efficiently as possible because you're working against competitors and shit. So this brings down prices, this makes better product, all this shit. But when you create monopolies with the government, there's no incentive to actually bring down costs. There's no incentive to do it faster and better. I've known many people who worked for the road companies for the city and stuff, and they were told to work slower, to not work as fast, because they're like, hey man, don't lay down that much, because if you do that, then we're not going to have as much work later, because because usually the government, they allocate like a certain budget. They'll be like, here's 80 million to do the roads, and if you do it with 60 million, they're not going to give you as much money next year. They're going to be like, okay, we'll give you 60 million. So they don't have an incentive to do a good job. So it's always going to cost more. It's always going to keep getting more and more inefficient, because that's just the way the system is. So the best way to stop that is to privatize these things. Privatize the postal service, right? Because then Amazon won't be getting a huge fucking subsidy, and then they won't have a monopoly over everybody else. Because Amazon, like, they're getting huge, right? They're getting a lot of fucking money. They're cornering the market on a lot of different things. They own way more than just Amazon. They own tons of shit. So the Postal Service is just helping them get more and more powerful. So if you want to help stop monopolies, stop the monopolies in the government, like the Postal Service, that help other monopolies, right? Because they help each other. So the best thing is, like I always say, is reduce the power of government, privatize more things, and we'll all be better off in the end. But it's good that Trump is pointing this out, and because nobody else has, and it should have been a long time ago, because this is just inefficient. It's going to keep costing you guys money. They haven't made a profit in 5 years. They've lost something like $60 billion since 2007, right? That's not going to turn around. That's because technology is changing. The way people get their mail is changing, and it's not going to go back. We're not going to go back to the way it was. So, if you have the government stay in control of this, it's going to stay the way it is. And yes, people are going to lose their jobs, but that's just the way of life. Things get more efficient. We discover new ways of doing things, right? It's like the horse and buggy. A lot of people probably wanted to stop the car from being implemented because they're like, oh, I'm going to lose all my jobs with the horse and buggy. But if we stayed with the horse and buggy, we wouldn't have all these new jobs that we have now because of the introduction of vehicle, which created all these new industries. So it's hindsight is 2020. We shouldn't look so much in the present here and now, and we should realize that a lot of this government intervention is actually just stopping progress. And sure, it's creating jobs here, but without it, there could have been maybe 10 times as many jobs created in other industries that we don't know of. So, this is just more examples of how, large government, though, is not good and is bad for everybody. But that's all I pretty much had to say. And if you like my content, subscribe and have a good day. See ya.